Hey folks, how you doing? Thanks for checking out this video. Robert, the narrator here. Wanted to talk about or do a wrap up for the mini campaign of my game Peace the RPG that I've been running for the last couple of weeks. I ran for a couple of buddies online, Dell and Jason and David. It was a really great experience for me. I have to say that it's the most fun that I've had running a role-playing game in a really long time. And I'm not just saying that because it was my game, but I'm saying it for a couple of reasons. And the first reason is all of us had the same intentions for play and the same play styles. I did a video about that earlier. And I have never had a situation where everyone at the table had the same play style. All of us approached the game playing our characters as character in world. We approached everything from the character's perspective. Everyone stayed in character, and that's just really enjoyable. I really like that. The second thing that made me really enjoy running for these guys is all of them were really bought into what was going on in the game and in the setting. And the when I asked them questions about their characters, their response, they responded with information about the setting and about the world that I hadn't um, explained to them. So they did their job as a player of looking at the world, understanding the world, finding their character's place in that world, and they were able to regurgitate that information back to me. So they had bought into what was going on and made the effort to place their characters in the world, which was really refreshing. A lot of the times when GMs complain that they don't have player buy-in, usually the response is, well, what are you doing wrong, Mr. Game Master? But as a frustrated game master, I think sometimes that game masters get a bum rap for players not being bought into what they're doing. Now, of course, there are game masters out there that may not always be on the top of their game or may never really be on the top of their game. But my question to players is, if you're sitting down at a table to play, why don't you buy in? Why are you sitting at a table where you are not bought in to what is going on at the table? So yeah, I know sometimes it could be either or. The GM is not doing a great job or the players really aren't bought in. But I have to ask, why are you at the table of a game master where you're not going to put your best foot forward? So that always is interesting to me. And excuse me, I'll go ahead and talk about the mini campaign that I ran for the guys. So this mini campaign was actually two independent adventures that neatly were able to be smushed together. The first half of the campaign was called Dark Tidings. It is a one-shot adventure that I created a while ago. It's really great if you just want to run a one-shot for players at your friendly local game store or at a convention. And Dark Tidings starts with the player characters being hired as caravan guards for a small caravan going to a little out of the way village. And then that's when the trouble starts. The caravan is beset, if you will, by a stampede of large, powerful mammals. They're called oxalo in the game. They basically look like woolly rhinoceroses. And these creatures are stampeding and endangering the caravan, and the player characters have to deal with that. And they did so very handily, by the way. And then after the player characters get themselves together, after this very strange occurrence, the sun is blotted out by a massive flock of birds that are migrating frantically in the same direction as the stampede. So clearly something is agitating the wildlife it really makes the NPCs nervous, and the NPCs want to continue on and rush and not take the break that they were planning on taking before the stampede endangered them. They want to rush to the village. And when the heroes arrive at the village, it is confirmed by the villagers that wildlife and livestock has been agitated for the last couple of days and acting strangely. At that point, another conflict occurs where two wild predators attack two villagers in the village, and this is unusual because unless these predators were really starving, they normally would not risk attacking a large human settlement. So again, it just reaffirms that something dark is afoot. And the villagers or the heroes finally figure out that the villagers notice that these occurrences or the agitation of the wildlife has been occurring for a couple of days ever since strangers set up an encampment at a rocky hill that the locals call the Devil's Horns. So the heroes investigate the Devil's Horns and indeed find an encampment of cultists who are making preparations to perform a dark ritual. The heroes of the adventure, Jason's character, Sarah, who is an elven ranger, David's character, Tenzin, who is a human river monk of Men, the first dragon, a warrior monk, and Dell's character, Abernathy, a nobleman who practices magic. He is a ciphermancer. That's what they call wizards in the setting. Dispatch this encampment of cultists, dispatch their leader, who is a dark-touched ciphermancer, and they recover two things at the Devil's Horns. They recover a black crystalline ring that the ciphermancer is wearing on his finger, and they recover a collection of parchment that is correspondence that seems to confirm that connected to this ritual at the Devil's Horns, another connected ritual is to be performed in the human city of Srill in the setting, and they get the time and location of this ritual. Finding the ring is going to be very important if they can identify the ring, and they are able to identify the ring. Our elven ranger Sarah has the spell talent detect magic, and later in the adventure when the heroes arrive at this human city of Srill, she is able to identify the ring as a ring of dark bonding, and it's going to turn out to be fairly important. So they stop the dark ritual outside at the Devil's Horns outside of this small village, and then they decide to move on to Srill to thwart this other evil ritual that the correspondence seems to describe that is going to happen. So what is going on here in this adventure? Well, what is happening is something that always works in tabletop role-playing games. It's a tried and true method to have a really successful campaign or adventure, and that is a mystery and a conspiracy. We all know as gamers how those work really well. I'm being sarcastic, but I'll tell you what I mean. So smushing these two adventures together that were previously unrelated was really convenient, and that the correspondence that the players found at the Devil's Horns connects the second part of the campaign, or the second adventure that was previously unrelated to the Dark Tidings. It ties them together very well. Excuse me. So, and the conspiracy that is going on here, the main bad guy of this mini campaign is a dark-touch ciphermancer by the name of Velthrum. Velthrum resides in the city fortress, which is the most powerful military and religious culture in the setting. And Velthrum would like to summon into this plane of existence Sterog, the Reaper, who is a very powerful demon. And the only way to do so is to perform two rituals. The first ritual was to be performed at the Devil's Horns. The heroes thwarted that. The second ritual needed to be performed in the vicinity of the city of Srill. And that sacrificial ritual required that a child be sacrificed, a babe that is born from parents, one parent of low birth or the peasantry, and one parent of nobility or high birth. So that child had to be born from essentially parents from two different worlds. And the way that he accomplished this is by convincing a servant of the Lord that Velthrum serves, one of the noblemen that Velthrum serves, convincing a servant to court his lord's daughter, Killan. He even gives the servant a love potion, a magical love potion that will definitely make sure that she falls in love. And they do, and they have a child secretly. Killan cannot let her father know that she has fallen in love and had a child with a peasant man. So she conceals her pregnancy with flowing clothing, and then once she is ready to have this beautiful child, she goes to family members and has the child and has the child live with her family members, while Velthrum instructs the servant, the father of the child, to travel to Srill and wait there. And Velthrum arranges for Killan, the mother of the child, to take the child and visit the father in the dangerous city of Srill. And that is where the kidnapping is going to occur. And so that is the conspiracy that is running through this mini campaign. But as I said sarcastically earlier, you know how a lot of these mysteries or conspiracies go in games. The players could get off track by missing clues, and that prevents the adventure from progressing forward. But what I did as best practices is I made sure that this conspiracy or the mystery of what was going on in the background of this story would not prevent the campaign from moving forward, because all of the clues that were laid out for the players, if they missed them, it wouldn't stop anything from progressing forward. Now, what will happen if the players do not suss out that the plot of Velthrum, the dark-touched wizard or ciphermancer, means that Velthrum at the end of the campaign will have a tactical advantage because those clues were not sussed out. But not having the clues would not hinder the adventure from moving forward. So fast forward, our heroes arrive in Srill. They arrive at the time and the location that the correspondent says that this second ritual would occur. And what they find is the noblewoman Killan fleeing the ritual site with her child, being pursued by devils. The heroes dispatch these devils that are pursuing the noblewoman and her child, and they find out that she has come to the city of Srill to visit the peasant father of her child, which she has to conceal from her father. And she has been accompanied by guardsmen or soldiers of her father to protect her on this journey, especially in this dangerous city. But she feels that something is wrong. Not only did these soldiers incompetently leave her unprotected long enough for the child to be kidnapped, but they have been acting strange, especially the head soldier who is protecting her, Sharon. And she asked the player characters to protect her through the night and to travel back to her city of fortress, to her father, and protect her, and they would be greatly rewarded. And Kalan's feelings of something strange being afoot is actually correct, because Sharon, the sergeant of the guard that is protecting her, is in Velthrum's service. He was to see that Kalan safely arrives in Shrill, and to allow the foul creatures to kidnap the child so that the ritual can be performed. So Sharon is not happy that the heroes are there, that they have, with mostly because of Kalan, the ritual has been thwarted. There, he is not happy that they are there. He is unable to communicate with Velthrum. So what he wants to do is he wants to get the heroes out of the way. And this is when the clues begin to come to fruition. So at this point, Sarah knows that she has identified the ring secretly, or mistakenly identified the ring using her detect magic talent, and finds out that the ring is a ring of dark bonding, which means that the owner of the ring can siphon life and absorb life from the wearer. So the ring is used to give to a minion or someone subordinate to you, and then once per day, the owner of the ring can siphon life from the wearer. Also, what the ring will do is, if the owner falls to 0 HP, the ring will automatically siphon life from the wearer and give that life or HP back to the owner of the ring. So clearly the first Cyphermancer at the Devil's Horns was probably not the head of the conspiracy. There was someone above him, because he had a ring that allowed his life force to be siphoned from him and to the owner of the ring. The other thing, the other clue, is that Sarah also talks to the peasant father of the child who was to be sacrificed, and he lets Sarah know that the reason that excuse me, pardon me, the reason that Kalan and he fathered the child is because they fell in love, and it was at the behest of Kalan's father's creepy advisor, and he doesn't. I think he may have named him. He named him Velthrum, and he said that Velthrum told me that Kalan is interested in me, and here's this potion so that it will work. And so that clue was given out, and then a couple of the other things that could have helped to suss out Velthrum being the head of this conspiracy, possibly, is the fact that one of probably the most well-protected child in this dangerous city was the child that these devils chose to kidnap for the ritual. Now, I hate to say it, but in a city like Shrill, you can get anything for the right price. Even, I hate to say it, even an innocent child to sacrifice in a dark ritual. So why select one of the most well-protected children in the city, who just happens to be visiting the city for a couple of nights? That it would seem strange that why would this child, in such a dangerous city where unfortunately you could easily get an innocent child, why would this child be the one that would be kidnapped? And then, as I said, the ring definitely was owned by someone else. And Sarah's questioning of the father of the child revealed that the origins of the relationship were because of the creepy advisor who was a magic user of Kalan's father. He initiated the entire relationship. So those are some of the clues that could have led the player characters to figure that there was someone else in charge of this entire plot or scheme. And unfortunately, they did not put those clues together. But again, that did not stop the adventure from moving forward. Not sussing out those clues, the only thing that meant was that Velthram had a tactical advantage. And he took advantage of that tactical advantage after the heroes dispatch the devils that were trying to perform the dark ritual in Shrill, after sussing out that that Kalan's protectors, her father's soldiers, were indeed, if not being able to figure out that they were in league with her father's advisor, they did figure out that they were responsible for trying to kill the heroes in their sleep. The heroes dispatched her guards and moved to Fortress. By this time, the cultists from the Devil's Horns had reported back that the first ritual had been thwarted, which means that the entire ritual was unfortunately would be unsuccessful. They were not able to identify the heroes, but only to just identify them as maybe nosy do-gooders. And then the heroes, not being murderous, allowed the guards who survived the confrontation in Shrill, and they left, and they also reported back to Velthram that the heroes who thwarted the second ritual in Shrill will most likely be accompanying Kalan back home to her father in Fortress. So when the heroes arrived, Velthram was ready for their arrival, and though his plans had already been foiled, he wanted revenge. And this is where the ring of dark bonding comes into play. Sarah is aware of the ring, but she keeps that information to herself. But when Velthram meets the heroes who victoriously, safely bring Kalan back to her father, he senses that Abernathy, the noble human wizard in the group, has the ring. And so Velthram puts two and two together, and he realizes that these guys also are the heroes who thwarted the first ritual at the Devil's Horns. They must have maybe slain his apprentice who was performing the ritual there, and took the ring that he gave to his apprentice. So what Velthram did is he engaged the heroes in conversation, and he used the one-time daily ability to siphon life from Abernathy, the noble human ciphermancer. And I described that Abernathy vomited up blood, and Velthram offered to assist him. Maybe he had been poisoned in whatever conflict they met on the road, and he was able to trick Abernathy and Tenzin, the human monk, to go under the estate to his laboratory, and that is where Velthram unleashed his ambush after saying, I know that you took the ring from my apprentice. That's how I was able to ambush you in this way. And so the adventure ended, unfortunately, with Tenzin, the human monk, being slain, with Abernathy being on death's door, and Sarah was called down to be ambushed at the same time. She was tricked to come down, being told that Abernathy's condition had worsened, and she was able to escape barely. So she is the only one who survived. And like I said, I really enjoyed role playing with these guys, but I'm very sad that the adventure ended. I would say, as far as the heroes being victorious and ultimately defeating the bad guys, which at least they stopped this ritual from being successful. The heroes did not come out. The party did not come out unscathed. I am not an adversarial GM, but I definitely believe in challenging the heroes or the player characters of my game and letting the dice fall where they may. But I am a fan of the player characters or the heroes, and I want them to succeed. Though with my play style, I am not willing to put my thumb on the scales to make sure that they succeed. And from the feeling that I got from the guys, they feel the same way. They want the dice to fall where they may and let the dice tell the story. So they said that they enjoyed themselves. But in the back of my mind, I was a little sad that we were not able to get all of these amazing characters out unscathed, because the guys did an amazing job at portraying these characters, and I really fell in love with them. Abernathy, the pompous noble who you love to hate or hated to love. I really loved his character. Tenzin, wise and steadfast and steady monk hero. And Sarah, the hot-headed, very strong elven ranger who did not suffer fools lightly and is a fierce champion of justice and righting wrongs. I really love these characters, and I'm really sad in the back of my mind that the adventure ended the way it did. But everyone seemed to enjoy it. Everyone seemed to believe in the idea of let the dice ultimately tell the story. And I'm looking forward. David said that he would be interested in GMing Peace, and it will give me an opportunity to expose another game master to the system to see how it feels, and gives me an opportunity to play the game from the player perspective and see how that feels. So overall, I really, really enjoyed this process. The actual plays, if you go to Roleplay Cafe on YouTube, all three of the actual plays are on YouTube. If you go to Facebook, facebook.com/PeaceTheRPG, you can also find information about the game. And even if you don't have a Facebook membership, you're able to manipulate those pages and see content and interact with the content. I hope that you would check it out. And in the description below, as usual, I have the link for the free PDF for the game, the basic edition of the game, and a fillable hero sheet. So thanks for checking out the video. A long one here, folks, but thanks for checking out this recap, and talk to you later.